This is the Late Late Lunch Show with Rod Maxwell.
Supported by
Childbed Learning in Nature's Playground.
So it's Rod Maxwell and Radio Alti, the Late Late Lunch Show, and today they've let me out, first of all, and I'm down in Altrincham at the Altrincham branch of Back to the Garden Childcare, and I'm here with Nick and also with Zoe, and today we're going to be talking about a couple of topics. The first one is about funding, and we're also going to talk about the green agenda and kids in the green agenda. So Zoe, how are you?
Good, thank you. It's nice to be back.
It's nice to see you, and it's always a lovely welcome here, I have to say. Now, we're going to talk about funding for childcare, because we know childcare is not inexpensive, but there are ways in which parents can seek funding to support them and get their child into back to the garden. Well, what is that about, and how do they get it?
So the government have brought out 30 hours for working parents. Both parents have got to be working to be able to access the funding, but there is eligibility checkers that you can do online from the government website. But if you are eligible for the funding, you're able to get 30 hours term time only, so kind of following the school's holidays, or for 22 hours you can get it all year round, spread across 51 weeks of the year we're open. And it just means that the government takes some of the costings to support you getting your child into nursery and for you to access work.
And is this a national thing, or do you apply locally to Trafford, or how do you apply?
So it's done across the whole of the UK. As far as I know, definitely England, that are able to access it. And you, like I say, go online to eligibility, and then we get a special code, and that code's what then allows us to get the funding. There is a top-up fee that you pay just to cover the costs, because the government's costs are a little bit less than what we would charge as a nursery. So it just covers that shortfall in terms of activities, meals, outings, people coming in to do activities, extra curriculum kind of things as well.
And if you are considering bringing your kid to a nursery, back to the garden, for example, obviously, but would you apply first, or can you get support from yourselves as to the best way to apply?
We're always happy to support if you've done a tour of the setting. If you need help, we can support you. But I'd always say just check your eligibility first, just to make sure, just so you know if you're going to have to pay the full price or whether you'll have it subsidised by the funding. Mm-hmm. But there is a few secret things that the government don't tell you about in terms of the funding starts termly. So it's either to start in September, January or April, and that's when you can access your funding from. And it's the term after your baby turns 9 months. So the term after the 9 months are able to get it if you're eligible. But before that, if they're not 9 months, you're not able to be eligible for the funding.
And if you've got a child here in the nursery already and your situation has changed, maybe your job situation has changed, you can then apply for funding mid-term or mid-process, if you like.
So you can apply mid-term, but it doesn't mean you'll get the funding mid-term. It still has to be. So say if your both parents were eligible from today, you got the code tomorrow, you wouldn't be able to access that funding though until September.
And what should parents look for? What should they Google, or where do they go to find out about the process and apply?
I'd say Google government funding 30 hours working parents, and that should then bring up a link that will take you through an eligibility checker as well, where you can check it.
You're listening to the Late Late Lunch Show with
Back to the Garden Childcare, where little explorers grow naturally.
So it's Rod Maxwell out and about and down at Back to the Garden Childcare in the Altrincham branch, and there's new branches coming all the time. The new one that's being developed at the moment is Bowring. But I'm here with Zoe, and we were just talking about funding support. There's other, is it tax-free support?
There's also tax-free childcare that goes hand in hand with the working parent funding. It's similar eligibility, but you're able to use that as soon as you want your child to start nursery. It's not like you have to wait till the certain term dates, and that gives you, the government pay 20% towards your childcare fees.
So is that something that you retrospectively get off your tax code, or do you get it in advance, or at the time of paying for your childcare?
So you have like a tax-free childcare account that if you're eligible, your account opens and you're able to put money into it that then gets sent across to the nursery. So for every £8 you put in, the government will top it up by £2, up to a certain amount each term.
That can make a big difference for people.
But not everyone knows about tax-free childcare, so they just focus on the funding more. So they go hand in hand. So we just like to make sure everyone's aware of the tax-free childcare and the 30 hours funding.
And I guess if somebody was looking to bring their child here but was looking for the options around financial support, you guys could take them through that. You could explain to them the different schemes that are out there that they could possibly tap into.
Yeah, we're always happy to help families if they need some support, even if they're not too sure when's best to start their child in terms of the funding and when's best to kind of get the settles in to make sure they're eligible for the funding for that term.
This is the Late Late Lunch Show with Rod Maxwell on Radio Alti.
So it's Rod Maxwell down at in Broadheath in the Altrincham branch of Back to the Garden Childcare, and every time I come here I can smell a lovely smell. It's cooking, and I find it's quite unique that you've got your own kitchens here. You're cooking fresh food for the kids for lunch times and breaks, I guess, and that, Nick, must add to the whole discussion and their awareness of where food comes from and the whole recycling agenda.
It does, and we really love to promote that with the children. We love to get them involved as much as they can. Obviously, the older that they're getting, the more independent that they're getting. They're serving their own foods during snack times, they're chopping their own fruit, and then they start to get curious, and that's where we come into it. And we start to then adapt our activities to ensure that then they start a learning process from what they're seeing every single day. They have the opportunity then to try out new things and taste new things. It helps with, obviously, when the children are a lot younger. We work with the parents with the weaning process and everything like that.
Do you think in some ways being amongst their friends, because they come here and they're coming with their friends, it means that they'll try new things more, so they'll try new foods, and it's a bit of peer pressure, but they don't know it's that. Do you think that helps them?
Oh, amazingly. Some parents, sometimes we have to laugh because some parents say they would never eat that at home. They don't eat that at home. But as soon as they see a friend eating it, then that's it. They start to eat it. They get curious themselves when they're watching other people eat it and they're watching their friends eat it and thinking, actually, all right, give this a little nibble, give it a go. And that's again how, it's promoting their health and their well-being as well.
And they really do learn together, don't they, kids?
They do. And obviously we've got our grow area as well in the garden. So when they're waiting for the strawberries coming up and the tomatoes coming up in the summer, it's really lovely to watch them obviously plant it, and then they recap and they think, we've grown this, and then they'll sit and they'll really enjoy it, and you'll see them all talking about it in circle time, and it's just so lovely. I
was seeing a kid pluck a strawberry or a raspberry and eat it.
Don't last long, I must say. As soon as they see one ripe on the plant, then that's it. Normally get swiped before we can take them.
That's just brilliant, because that's a more natural childcare, which is one of your brand themes, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. And that's exactly what we want to be advocates for. We want children to understand the basics of living, I suppose, growing your own produce, where it comes from, what it tastes like, and how we enjoy it and look after them.
I think I'm going to head out and see if I can nab myself a strawberry. I'm down at Back to the Garden Childcare. I'm speaking with Nick and also speaking with Zoe.
You're listening to the Late Late Lunch Show with
Back to the Garden Childcare, where little explorers grow naturally.
So, Nick, not surprisingly, given that you are Back to the Garden Childcare place, the whole green agenda is very important. And I know out there the kids can play in mud, they can play in sandpit, they have a lot of messy time, etc. But how aware are children about the importance of things like recycling, where their food comes from, the need to recycle and save water and all those sort of things? How aware are they about that?
I mean, I think it comes from setting an example as just the colleagues and how we work alongside them. They all are obviously aware from a very early age in terms of where we dispose of our rubbish, how we dispose of our rubbish, recycling things. Obviously, we have the water butts in the garden. They know how we're recycling all the water we're using. We have the herb garden that they can pick from whenever, obviously, they're doing activities and things like that. We have fruit and veg growing, and then they're seeing the cycles as well. And obviously, the longer that they've been here, the more that they're waiting again. So, at the minute, we're waiting on some flowers again to flourish. that they've seen over the last couple of years. So we talk about that a lot in our circle times. We use it as examples during our activities, and as I say, we just try and really embed it from an early age with the children.
The thing I find about that is that's the sort of stuff that if parents didn't have their kids in childcare, they would want to be doing and they would be naturally doing. So I find it fantastic that the kids are doing that type of thing just in more structured care, if you like.
Yeah, I think at the minute, obviously under the circumstance of the way that the planet is, I think it's so important to just get it embedded with the children. So they're our future. They're the ones that are going to make a difference, and we want to be advocates for that.
Yeah, and no, it's a sunny day, right? I almost think that a sunny day is harder than a wet day in a way, because with a wet day, I know you guys like to get them out in their wet play, but the sun, you've got to put sun lotion on them and all of that type of thing. It must add to the pressures of looking after them.
It does, but it comes hand in hand with obviously caring for the children and doing the right thing. Obviously, when they are outdoors in the heat like this, we're maintaining that they've got the sun cream topped up, they've all got the sun hats on, water is accessible obviously all day for them. It just promotes their independence as well, and they start to learn them routines and know sort of what is a staple of what we need to get done before we go out safely and enjoy the outdoor area. It
must be lovely when you see them. I always think when they come here first, and those who stay with you through to preschool, isn't it? And you use the awareness that they have and their appreciation of the environment and their appreciation of plants. You guys see that all the time.
This is it. We see it all the time, and the children. I mean, bless them, they go along with the little litter pickers, don't they? And we have any sort of just like rubbish that needs disposing of or anything. They just pick it up like naturally. They just see it and they'll come and put it in the bin themselves. Again, in the areas that they know to tidy away the garden, and they're just they're fab. The kids, they are.
This is the Late Lunch Show with Rod Maxwell on Radio Alti.
So I'm down here at the Broadheath and the Altrincham branch of Back to the Garden Childcare. Now, Nick, I have to ask you something, because you've been my sponsor for nearly a year or so, but I have never asked what a Reggio-inspired child-led nursery is all about. Now, tell me, because it sounds like it's opera singer, but what is Reggio-inspired all about?
So Reggio essentially comes from a place in Italy, and it is centred around nature-inspired learning. And with that obviously comes the continuous provision that we keep out for the children, ensuring that everything is child-led for them, and that the provocations that we keep out are essentially in line with what they would do, nature-inspired from Italy.
And now, the thing I remember from actually starting work was somebody talked about curiosity. And I want to ask you this, Zoe, is in some ways, if by not forcing education and topics down, letting the kids ask questions and be curious about nature and their environment, it gets them to think more. Do you think that's part of the whole Reggio approach in some ways?
Yeah, and also having the confidence and the ability to ask open questions to us. And we're learning as well as staff. We don't know all the answers. That also brings in the modern technology then, and their curiosity takes us all on that adventure. So, for example, they've just seen a bird in the garden walking around heading to the nest. That might spark a bit of curiosity, like, oh, where are they going? What's in the nest? And from there, we'll extend that learning. We might make our own bird nests to take home, or it might just stem to doing activities about pretending to be birds, or life cycle, what do birds eat, why do they nest in quieter places, why have they chosen our garden that's definitely not quiet, but they're obviously cosy in there, got their houses made in our nest boxes.
Do you know, it almost makes me want to be a kid again. But it's so nice, isn't it, that you take something that the curiosity, you encourage asking questions, and then that becomes a theme, really, Nick.
This is it. And, it's come such a long way, childcare, from what we used to see. And the fact that actually it's the children in control of their learning. And this is what we love to see.
There you go. Well, look, it's been really lovely to see you. I love coming down here. There's an energy about the place. I can smell some food. I might stay for lunch, that is. So I was speaking today to Nick and Zoe, and we'll be down at Back to Garden Childcare, and we'll be back with them again sometime soon.
This is the Late Lunch Show with Rod Maxwell.
Supported by
Childbed Learning in Nature's Playground.